Yeah.
I can't believe Dad didn't let me know.
Excuse me. He said late. His exact words were.
But something along those lines.
No, I can call.
He'll probably just a random. He won't. It's just for service.
We're live whenever you're ready.
Okay.
But you gotta stay on.
If she doesn't make it on right away, oh, no. Never mind, that's just top shelf.
I get what you're saying. Just nudge him home.
Hello, sir.
He's not late, he's right on time.
Right on time. You thought you were gonna be delayed from work. Here you are.
All right, the time is 4 p.m. This meeting is now called to order. We don't normally take roll work sessions, so it looks like we're going to move right into special presentations. So, Mr. O'Brien.
Hi, can you hear us now? Can you hear us?
Everybody. My name is Al. I'm an attorney at Lamar Woods, and we've been tamed to assist you with a couple of loans that are going to come from MDE in connection with 2 water projects that are up for consideration by the TAP. Involves the removal of combined sewer and stormwater infrastructure in the expected Street, Washington Street, and McCullough Street. And then the second, similar in the same areas, but is part of what's called phase XC. The first one is XB. So in total, what that is before you is ordinance in order to approve a financing in the amount of $6 million. Of that amount, $3 million is available, so long as you meet all of the requirements set forth by. I'm showing the $3 million would be something that has to be repaid by the city. The terms of repayment are set in the loan agreement that are attached to the ordinance. The actual interest rate paid will be set at a date closer to closing. We don't know what that interest rate will be yet, but the formula for determination is included in the loan agreement. That's some information about this. So I'll stop there and see if you guys have any questions about this particular financing.
Excellent. And can you hear us?
Yes.
Perfect. In front of you as well, Lydia passed out a project budget kind of breakdown. So you have a better understanding of what that budget looks like.
These are, in terms of how they're set up, these are identical to every single budget we've ever done for a CSO, ever. They're just bigger.
Much bigger.
In terms of what has line item.
The loan/loan forgiveness, meaning that 50% of the loan can be forgiven.
Correct.
Correct.
So-
So for each of them.
We're approved for $3 million of loan and $3 million of loan forgiveness, but we don't have to go that high. So if the project, say the project totaled $5 million, we would just shrink it to meet that. And then after subtracting away the grants we have for both projects as well.
Okay.
But we can get a total of 3 for each. And the way that works is 1.5 million of loan for each project and 1.5 million of loan forgiveness for each project. So they're split evenly.
Is that after
What we
the
call
grant?
drawdown bonds. So what the process that was just being described is as you spend down money, you will then apply for reimbursement from MDE for those amounts. And as you draw those amounts down, the principal amount of the bond will increase. So you may never get to the full $3 million.
Right, right.
But you are not obligated to repay $3 million. You are only obligated to the amount that you effectively.
Correct. And to answer your question, Nina, that is after the grant.
That's after the grant, okay.
So like, for instance, for 10B, we have about $1.8 million worth of grant, and the total project is about $4.5 million. So 4.5 million minus 1.8, and then we split the remainder between loan and unforgiven.
Okay, okay.
And so at the upcoming council meeting, this will have its first reading, will be introduced, and will be set for a public hearing. We also have a couple of resolutions, one or two that we need to do, just clarifying some things about who's in what positions and things like that. So I know we have to do one for Amy, and we have to do one for Kevin as well, just as, for documentation purposes. But that'll just be the next meeting, and then we'll post it at least twice leading up to the public hearing.
Right.
Okay.
Okay.
Yeah, it's pretty straightforward.
Yeah, I mean, like you said, it's been done before, just with much lower numbers, so. Okay. Anything else for this before we move on from
I
this?
don't think so.
And anything else to add before? No, I think we're all set.
I think we're all good, but I just want to say on a personal note, I'm super excited to be switched in. I grew up in Cumberland. I'm an Allegheny County girl, so it's exciting to be able to work on projects that benefit the community that I grew up in. It's really meaningful to me, and I appreciate the opportunity to represent you.
Thank you.
We certainly appreciate your time, Anna. Thank you.
Yep, thanks, everyone.
Okay.
I thought I recognized her. She used to be Bill Rudd's assistant at the county years ago. All right, or paralegal. I shouldn't say assistant. She was his paralegal. All right, moving on then into council meeting topics. So this is the ordinance that we just discussed, item 3A. So we pretty much have discussed that. Anything else we talk about? It'll be presented for first reading at next meeting, or at the meeting next week. All right, item 3B, an open container request.
So Frostburg first has requested, the letters in your packet requested open container for the upcoming Hearts Walk.
Chief?
Thank you, Mayor, Commissioners. I think this is always a very positive event, no problems related to alcohol, no law enforcement issues. I would respectfully recommend that you approve the request.
But you have to drink with your pinkies up.
And just to clarify, it's next Saturday, the 25th, and it's from 10 a.m. to 6 p.m. Yes, okay.
Two Saturdays.
Two Saturdays.
Not this Saturday,
Yeah,
next
not that.
Yes, so yeah. Not this Saturday coming, next
Right.
Saturday. All right. Easy. Next is item C. This is more on the opioid settlement.
So there's nothing in your packet about this because the document itself is a legal document that's not supposed to be shared with the public for attorney-client privileges and things like that. But what this would be, and I'll make sure I'll get a copy of that document. What it is the same thing we did for the last one, allowing our attorney group to sign on behalf of Frostburg when it comes to the documentation and things like that for a new opioid litigation that's coming about. So this is, I think the last one was considered the Gang of 8. This is the Group of 6, and things like that. So I'll get you the details for it just so you have copies of it, but we'll have a pretty generic resolution allowing them to make those signatures at the next meeting if there's no concerns.
Sure, yeah.
Not specific concern related to that, but just sort of an observation. I think we do need to start thinking about what we're going to do with the money that we've accumulated, because we do have a good bit of it, and there have been people in the public that have started to ask, are we just sitting on the money, or what's the plan with it?
Well, then I think the big settlement has kind of starting to come to an end, and we'll get those money. So I think this will continue on with some of the smaller ones for a while, but now we have the big chunks.
Yeah, maybe once the Purdue one is settled.
And I know we've talked about this in the past, that, the county's gonna have more options than we will.
Sure.
So we're probably gonna put into that.
Yeah, and that's fine, if that's what we decide to do. But once the Purdue settlement, that's sort of the lion's share of it. Like Patrick said, we'll always have a little bit of money trickling in from it for ever, probably.
There are restrictions to the use of it,
Right.
and if it makes better sense to partner with the county on a large, like treatment or whatever,
Mhm.
you know, falls within those restrictions, then
Mhm.
let's do that. If it's something that we can do locally, I prefer to do whatever we can do locally, using that money locally.
Mhm.
But we'll have to see, you know, what the allowable uses are.
Right. Yeah. A bunch of us with, you know, $100,000, I don't even know if it's that much, can do so much, but if the county, if we pull it together and everybody
Yeah.
has $2 million, then that's a lot more.
And there should be some oversight of that too.
Oh, yeah. All right, easy enough on that. Next is the lease agreement for the food pantry.
So also in your packets is the draft lease for the food pantry. We are working with the Frostburg Foundation, or Foundation for Frostburg, sorry, on this lease agreement. Essentially what it is it would allow the pantry to utilize the building. They would pay for all the utilities minus water and sewer. We'd be responsible for keeping up the grounds, cutting the grass, shoveling snow, things like that, as well as trash removal. The pantry is not its own entity anymore. It is a kind of a subsidiary of the Foundation for Frostburg, so the lease agreement would actually be with them. But it would be for the Interfaith Food Pantry to move into the new building when it's complete, which should be soon.
First or second week in May.
Okay.
Okay?
We're waiting on electric connection.
So,
And then there'll be a ribbon cutting sometime in there.
Yes.
mid-May.
I noticed under section 6.1, part B, no, part A, it says a pantry shall keep the leased premises clean and in good repair, including but not limited to the building thereon and the exterior grounds of the leased premises. Should also include an exception because the city is doing the grass cutting. and
Yeah, the
so-
city responsibilities, it talks about grass cutting in the next
Yeah, in
section.
6.2, but it should, I think, say,
Okay.
just so that, you know,
Just
to
add
avoid.
that doesn't include yard work
Yeah.
necessarily. Yeah, no, I believe Michael was talking more about trash and such, but I'll make sure it's covered.
General
I think,
cleanliness.
right, yeah, general cleanliness. Just say, except as provided under section 6.2.
Yep.
And then I was wondering about, like, the insurance obligations. Does the pantry have employees, or are they all volunteers?
So I believe right now they're all volunteers. So that section wouldn't necessarily apply to them unless they
Okay,
decide.
unless, okay.
Right now, they would qualify, the way we talked about it yesterday at the foundation meeting, they would fall under the foundation's insurance that already exists.
Okay,
And we gave a copy of this to the Foundation for Frostburg to look over to see if there's anything we need to clarify or need to work out. So
okay, good.
if all goes well, this will be on the agenda for the upcoming meeting. If not, it may be bumped to the next one.
Well, I didn't want to burden them beyond their capacity.
No, absolutely.
I don't know if we mentioned also, there is a minimum rent charge that was mentioned in the contract also. They currently pay rent, what is it, $100?
It might be a little bit more than that.
Current,
Yeah.
for the
They pay-
For where they are now, they
Like
currently,
175.
yeah, so we have, I think we agreed on 100, they're gonna pay a rent of $100, which is essentially in lieu of, you know, getting a water bill and having to do things. We will take care of that, and in exchange, it's $100 a month rent, which is less than what they're paying right now. So-
Right, yeah. And a better
At
building.
least they'll be responsible for electric and gas. There's a gas furnace in there now, Aiden,
Correct. Natural gas, it's a 4-story unit.
and they're looking at putting air conditioning in. So,
Mini splits, or,
It would be basically, yeah.
because it's a small space, yeah.
yeah. And it's pretty wide open too. So.
Yeah,
Okay. All right, moving on then, item 3E, this is a change order for CSO.
So this is actually going to wind up being an amendment to the change order we did last time. So Specs had sent us updated numbers, and we did a change order number 3 for $40. They sent us updated numbers that was actually meant to be a little over 400. I think it's a total here. So, so not that great, but
40619.
thank you.
Yes.
So 40619 was supposed to be the actual change, so we will be amending the change order because it's technically the same change order. So
Okay.
that's it.
Crossing T's and dotting I's.
Yes.
Next, another change order, this is for the comp plan.
Yeah, so we had originally gotten a number from the comp plan that was a little high. Talked it over with him about what it should really be. And they just had some transition, so the primary contact that's helping us with the comprehensive plan left the company and somebody else is taking over. So they're gonna get us a new total. It was upwards of 40,000 and it should really only be about 10 to 20. So this-
That's a big difference.
Yes, so, which is, it's important. So, that would be we asked them to do some additional surveying with FSU after, we didn't get a great response the
Right,
first
yeah.
time, so it's some of that extra work. And then, as well as the sustainability chapter,
Sustainability.
wasn't originally in their scope of work, and since that's being added, it'll be for the cost of that. So, we spoke this morning, a little bit about it. He's gonna get with his team, and we should have an updated number before the upcoming council meeting. If not, we'll make sure to have it by the following.
You can correct me if I'm wrong. With the transition of project manager left and we got a new one, once we get this extra work order approved, it'll be about 6 months max, and it should be done.
Okay.
Max is what they told us, because they're transitioning from the guy that was there to a new person.
Okay.
There will still be the monthly meetings?
Yes,
Okay.
everything will continue forward as of now till
Just
we
working
get to
through the whole thing?
till we get
each
to
section.
review process. Yep.
Okay.
Good on that. Hotel motel tax next.
Excellent. So on the screen for everybody is what the requests were that we had talked about. For Mayor and Council, I gave you a copy of it with the changes that you had discussed last time, which are in green, as well as some notes of mine in yellow with some suggestions after some of the meetings. So a couple of things to note is I talked to Brian and the group that is doing the Little League that wanted to do some of the changes to the baseball field, or the softball field. We can cover that under Parks and Rec, so they will be funded, but it won't be through Hotel Motel.
Okay.
It's something that we have funding for already. And then Hayden had reached out to the Boy Scouts, so what we looked at doing was potentially reducing theirs a little bit, so they get the money for the activities associated with soil erosion. We don't know if that's the exact amount because we weren't able to get a hold of them, but Public Works would pay for any of the actual soil erosion like materials. So if they need dirt, rocks, things like that, we would cover that. It does need to be cleared with Public Works to make sure that what they're looking at is actually our property and those types of things. But so they would get a reduced amount. Let's see that for a second. I lost my copy. And then other than that, I suggested a couple of small reductions based off of things from last year. People that asked for a little bit more, as well as things like the Appalachian Festival. They originally asked, or last year they asked for 2,500, asked for 4,000 this year. It is one of the 250 projects, so there may be some money out of the 250 budget to help support that if they are a little short. Also with the Frostburg Business and Professional Association, the same thing. They had $2,500 for the sign that they originally talked about, the banner. They talked about this money was for some maintenance as well as an additional sign. We figured if we reduce that a little bit, they'd have the money for maintenance, and then if we did wind up getting a 250 sign put up, it may be something that we can cover. So it's a mix of reducing some costs, but also trying to fund some things outside of the hotel motel. The last one was, we had talked about the summer lunchbox program, not necessarily fitting into the economic development concept. So I talked to Mayor Luxon about committing to finding that funding elsewhere for them. We want to make sure they get their money, but if this is an appropriate pot for it.
Yeah.
But other than that, it's up to you all if you want to make any adjustments, any changes. I can talk a little bit about the conversations me and John had with the railroad, museum, and Frostburg First. We also talked to the Thrasher Museum and some others.
Well, this does put us down to 100.
Yeah, so we were able to work to get to the goal of 125, which is what we said. Since we had the meetings, maybe let's talk about what the outcome of those meetings were.
Sure. So the Frostburg Museum, had a good conversation with them. The Frostburg Museum is running all of the volunteers. They said one of the things that actually been working very well for them is especially if there's a certain individual riding the bus up to the train station. When people get off the train, they've been funneling them into the museum. So they normally have a good crowd right after that. Rob's been helping out with some of that. But their funding for the most part is set for general operations, kind of keeping things going. They've put a lot of work into that building, into making sure that it has air conditioning in parts of it and things like that. He said when they were first there, it was boiling hot in certain areas. Still is in some, because they don't have it set up. But overall, the funding for them is mainly just, operational and that type of thing. I had a good conversation with the railroad as well. Let me get the rest of my notes. And actually, since Bob, you're here, did you want to say anything about the railroad?
Basically, what we had talked about, Pat and John and I had met for about 40 minutes. The bulk of the money goes for the shuttle. We're all familiar with the big bus. We also have a small 15-seat bus as well, in case the big bus is out of service. But what we also a lot of times use it for, in conjunction with the railroad, is with also the CES. When CES has programs on campus or at the Palace, we run trains to bring people to Frostburg, but we got to get them from point A to point B. So that money goes to pay the driver, fuel, maintenance of the bus, and so we can get them over to Pack Center, we can get them to the Palace, whatever. So it's actually kind of a partnership between the two nonprofits, of which you guys obviously help both. So it's we're kind of crossing over. But that's bringing folks to Frostburg, and you get to see the university and so on and so forth. And we make the bus available for other things like this summer for the Derby, because we're going to have a special run for the 250. We talked to Bill, our driver. We've got a plan set up to how we're going to get people from the depot without using Depot Street. We'll use Water Street. We'll double them around and get back down so that folks can take advantage of seeing the Derby on July 4th. So again, I'd like to have two very dedicated drivers. Fortunately, they're both school bus drivers, so it's not like they're truck drivers and they're on the road and gone. You can usually get them during the day to do stuff. So that's where a lot of that money goes into, because obviously we have to pay their benefits and things like that as well, and their time. And most of that is weekends. So you're not going to get a bus driver $15 an hour. It doesn't happen. Especially somebody like Bill, who just knows his town and talks it up and whatnot. So I think it's money well spent. But keep in mind, keeping a international bus running is not cheap. So we certainly appreciate it, and it's available. I know I said this to the council before. Todd's on the board with me now. He knows this, that if there's something going on in town and I can get a driver for it, the bus is available.
Are both of the vehicles, the bus and the smaller van, are they both owned outright, meaning like we don't have payment on them or anything?
Right.
That's what I thought.
Fortunately, one of our employees is also a bus driver during the week. He's in the Hagerstown area, and the company he worked for offered it to us very reduced, and because of us being a nonprofit. So it's been, as far as managed to be a 503C. So the big bus, we had to put some money into it. Matter of fact, we put probably close to 20 into it initially, get it wrapped and doing some mechanical work to it. The smaller bus right now, we can use it, but it is going to be due for a full maintenance pack, and probably 4 tires here. Again, it's one of those deals that it's not cheap.
Sure.
But again, if there's something that's going on in town, that's why I always offer it. And especially like say with the 250 thing going on and stuff, or things on the university, it's a way to get people to town. So,
Are there going to be trains running on the 4th?
yeah, there's going to be, actually, the county asked us, in past years it's been tough because with the Derby, and just the way that the whole day plays out, it's one of those deals where holidays are, be real straight up to you guys, holidays are really difficult in smaller towns, especially when there's a big event like Derby Day. A lot of folks don't understand what Derby Day is, they're not from here. They come up on the train, they're expecting businesses to be open, restaurants to be open. Well, that's a day, it's a vendor day. Some will enjoy the day, and some, that's not what they signed on for. So we've been kind of tentative on that, but because it's being a 250 celebration, the county reached out and saying, we'd like to, want to make sure Frostburg included, and then that's why we decided to add, ice cream trains on Sunday night, and that would be out of Frostburg, simply because that would, to me, would be not as much a county thing, it would be more of a local thing. So we'll do those 3 ice cream trains.
And they'll leave from here?
They'll be from Frostburg to Savage and back up again.
Got it.
We'll do about a 45-minute round trip. So
Okay.
always trying to come up with ideas to get people here.
Yeah.
And that's what the train does. Last year, approximately 50,000 people came to Frostburg on the train, so.
Pretty soon, we're gonna have to add a bakery train.
The bakery train is great. I mean, the ice cream thing definitely goes, that's for sure. But, yeah, scones on the run or something.
Scones
We appreciate
on the
it.
run.
Okay.
And then the other big meeting we had was at Frostburg First. Talking with them, and Dana, feel free to chime in. I don't throw you on the spot. But we had a good conversation with them. I know one of the concerns was kind of discussing about how often they're in the office and on Main Street and things like that. And what we kind of discussed was that a lot of what they do is meant to be walking around and that. Their website definitely has contact information that makes them available. We talked about potentially trying some office hours if Mayor Council think that it's that imperative to have like a day and some hours where they're just available for walk-ins. But it sounds like most of the businesses and things like that get in touch with them do it through email, text, and things of the sort. There are no fees to be a part of Frostburg First. When they moved to the 501c3 concept, they stopped charging fees, and they do have like more of a donor program. Remind me the name of the donor program?
It's our Frostburg First Investor
Investor
program.
So people can invest, and they have a good bit of investors, but whether you pay into it, you don't necessarily have to pay into it. They promote anything on Main Street. Some businesses that are very engaged, some that are slightly engaged, as we would expect for anything like that. I think those were two of the bigger conversations. There's representation from businesses on the board. I think that was one. Is there any other specific questions you all have?
I think back to board, the thing you just said about board membership, I think we did ask about specifically who, we said there is Main Street business representation, but we wanted to know who it was.
You wanna-
Jesse Woods from Baker Babes
Okay.
is a business owner on the board.
Okay,
And then one of our committee presidents, she's not actually a board member, but she runs our promotions committee, is Heather Lancaster.
Oh,
from
yeah,
Spectrum
okay.
Times.
Heather.
And then we have the bank managers from M&T and Somerset Trust are both on the board as well.
Okay.
Can I have it that says JC
Oh, yeah.
on the board?
J.C. Duncan?
I don't know. Maybe I'm reading my notes wrong.
Was that Jesse, maybe?
Maybe.
Could be.
All right. Anything else for Patrick on that?
John, anything to add to any of this?
No, it's all good meeting.
And you're our
Liaison.
liaison for that, right?
Yes.
Okay. When's the next meeting of the board?
Second, it's in between the mayor and council meeting of May,
Okay.
the Thursday in between work session and meeting.
So you already had the meeting this month?
Yes, correct.
And Spring Arts Walk coming up.
Very good. Oh, yeah. What, talk about Arts Walk for a second, Dave, just so people,
Yeah.
just to talk about it.
Our Arts Walk is coming up on April 25th. We have over 50 artisans paired up with businesses or out here in the street. We're going to be taking over Mechanic Street as well as part of Maine, just for a little bit of the day. We have all the different performing groups that you would expect, the City Center for the Arts, Kickmasters Karate, Frostburg Dance Academy, Frostburg Music Academy, the Allegheny County Public Art Show for the public schools is going to be at City Place. The Kids Business Fair is back at Armstrong Garage. It's going to be a pretty big day.
Good.
Great. Hope the weather's good.
I remember that kid's business from last year. That was wild.
Yes, so Mechanic Street outside of City Place will be closed, and then Main Street between Broadway and Washington will be closed just for 12.
All right. Anything else on that before we move on? So hotel motel, again, this is something we'll look over this next week, everybody, or in the next week by the meeting, but this is ready to Glenn otherwise.
If you're okay with that, we'll put it into the budget, and that's what we'll approve at the next meeting. Well, that's what we'll present at the next meeting as part of the
Right,
budget.
right, right.
I can pitch funding for the Frostburg Summer Lunchbox program to my church. I mean, we can't cover all $5,000, but we could contribute to it.
Well, and I think that we have funding that we can put aside specifically for that, from some other funds.
From some
We should be fine, I mean, they're more than welcome to donate as well, but for this specific project. we should.
It's the sort of thing that our church does a lot, you know, local programs that help people, so.
Absolutely.
The Elks might be willing to help with that too. All right. Next is item 3H. This is the revival, I guess, of the smoke detector ordinance.
Revival.
Who wants to take
So-
this?
Pass this on to you.
Okay, if you're okay with it, I'll jump to the highlights in it.
Yes.
Jay's here to speak a little bit. I asked him to come. He's been involved in it longer than me. He can speak on it as well. Section 4.02, if you go to number 6, Patrick, this is in there. Just want to hit on it real quick. Alarms shall be kept and maintained in good operating condition. Inoperable alarms shall be repaired or replaced within 3 days of written notice from the inspector. However, if there isn't a functional alarm in a single level rental unit or a level of a multi-level rental unit, the alarm shall be repaired or replaced within 24 hours of written notice from the inspector. Number 7, all alarms within a rental unit must be interconnected so that all detectors within the unit sound if any one of them are activated. This can be achieved through hardwired interconnection or the use of wireless radio frequency, RF, interconnection. Physical interconnection of alarms shall not be required when approved wireless alarms are installed, and all alarms sound upon activation of one alarm. The use of Wi-Fi based interconnection is prohibited. Number 8, adjoining rental units in a rental property shall be required to interconnect alarms between units so that the alarms within the property sound if any of them are activated unless units are furnished with approved fire and smoke separation. To be considered furnished with approved fire and smoke separation, evidence of approved materials and installation must be provided to the inspector, and the separation has no evidence of penetrations or non-protected openings. And then part B is carbon monoxide. That is a state law. I'm not going to read through that. We can't get around that. That's from the emergency firemen's fire marshals. Jay, do you want to speak on that a little bit? What you see out there?
So, just to step back on the number 8 that John addressed about the adjoining rental units being interconnected. I know that was some discussion back and forth when this was initially presented. There was concern about nuisance alarms within the same unit or different units within the same building. And I know, you know, the fire department, when they came, they had some questions about that. Probably 80% of the rental units in Frostburg are converted single-family dwellings that are at best 80 years old. Construction techniques back then versus today, it's a chimney from the basement to the roof. The way the verbiage was written in, that's currently in the city code, it states, unless it's a fire separation wall, they have to be interconnected. So, adjoining is the key word. An adjoining wall or floor or ceiling. These old houses, apartment on this side of the wall, an apartment on this side of the wall, that's just a common wall. So that's the need to require, if Bob's alarm goes off in his apartment, I'm on the second floor, mine should go off too to give me a fighting chance to get out. So that's why that's kind of been put back in there for that reason. The carbon monoxide alarms, the biggest change to that is we only required them if there was a combustible appliance or an attached garage. We required them within 25 feet of that appliance. State law in 2018 required all rental units to have carbon monoxide alarms on each level of the house. So we were behind the 8 ball on that one also. So that's why that was added in with the updated, language. And then the other thing that was, I don't know what, it should be included in this. It was in the other one, I thought about the tampering with
It's on the
life
front,
safety
it's,
devices.
if you go back to the front page,
Yeah, it's one of the first ones.
it's on the very first, ordinance page, at the very bottom.
That's something that we currently don't have in the city code, and I inspected,
Section
a house yesterday that the tenants willingly admitted, we took the smoke alarms down. And they were the interconnected between different levels. So, that's why that's been added into this also. And it's, my intent is not to write somebody a citation because they took something down. My intent is to use that as a tool to educate people. Hey, these are here for your safety. Your landlord, your property owner, put them in. You know they took them down. Put you, your family, your kid's life at risk. This is the consequences that could happen besides in the event of a fire and you have no notification. The other part that was added into it, or that was brought back into this, I know there was a lot of question about the UL listing and labeling of smoke alarms. That was brought up at the last go-round. That verbiage is in here. UL listing or labeling, UL testing it's a proprietary, UL is in it to make money, but there are other nationally recognized testing companies out there. So as long as it's listed and labeled by a recognized testing company, because everything is tested to the UL standard. So that's, the verbiage for that is put back in also. So, that's revision to the last one.
That's 4.02, section A, subsection 1,
Yes.
that one. So it does say UL, it doesn't say any other ones, right?
Well,
It's
So-
ANC UL standards, as long as it meets the UL standards.
Yeah. Okay, so it doesn't, as long as it meets those standards, okay, it doesn't have to be UL listed.
No.
And to clarify, this is a draft that we put together to send to Michael. We haven't gotten the final
Yeah.
version.
It
yet, so
doesn't
maybe
have
some
all
small.
the legal stuff
Yeah.
that he thinks it should have in it as far as recognized testing agency or whatever language he feels should be suited for.
Just so everybody, so as this got started because there was some language that was blurry at best when it comes to some of this. You know, what does a firewall consist of, and can it really be truly expected to that level? We also used to use the phrase hardwired for smoke detectors, and there's a difference between hardwiring the power to a smoke detector and hardwiring the connection for the interconnected alarms. So what this does is clarify a lot of that, so change AC power compared to hardwired interconnectivity, radio frequency, those types of things. It also gives Jay a little bit more control when it comes to fire separation, because as long as the evidence that it's there, and then there's no evidence to the contrary, because you can't necessarily open up every wall, climb in every crawl space to confirm that. So as long as it was built that way and there's no evidence that it has been breached or damaged, it would be considered good enough to not need the interconnected between units. So
Okay.
this clarifies the language a good bit, so, and takes into account the chief's suggestions as well.
You got 5 days fire act. 9 days.
All right, so just procedurally, how is this gonna work next week?
So it will work one of two ways. I'm waiting to hear back from Michael because he wanted to review it. Since this is such a big change to the last one that we tabled, this may actually wind up being ordinance number 3. And it would actually be put forward as a completely separate ordinance. And the other one would just kind of die on the table. If not, we would amend the previous one to be this language. Because we tabled it, we'd still do a public hearing anyway, so the result's the same. It'll be talked about at the next meeting, we'll do a public hearing for the following month, and that would be when it could be passed. So whether it is a new ordinance or an old ordinance, it's essentially the same process, whether we just amend it or introduce it.
Got it. Okay.
It seems more in line with what the fire chief wanted.
Right.
But I agree.
Yeah.
So we'll call this back up next week. So it'll be first reading, we'll have a public hearing in May, whatever time in May.
Yeah.
Okay.
Then proceed with that language that we got.
Yes.
Yeah.
Other than the legal ease
Whatever,
from
yeah.
Michael.
Is there any concerns or additions, changes that you think would be easier?
I think it's good.
We won't get any postcards after this, right?
Not sure.
Appreciate you. All right, that takes care of that. Next, you thought that was fun. Here comes the budget.
All kinds of fun. Okay.
Everybody at the table should have copies of this if you needed to.
All right, so now my chair's too high. There we go. Okay, so we were able to balance the budget. Always a good thing. We did have to use fund balance in the, oh, my notes are wrong, in the corporate fund, about 226,000, I think, which is less than last year. And keep in mind that we have budgeted to use the fund balance, but have not used it in the last 5 years, or maybe longer. My dad only went back 5 years. So our new budget that we're presenting today has total revenues of $17.5 million and total expenses of $17.3 million, which leaves us a small profit in three of the funds. So we're projecting break even in the corporate fund because we're using fund balance. The water fund, we have about $13,000 left over. Sewer fund, when combined with CSO, we have $103,000, which would most likely be funneled back into other projects. Piney has a $30,000 overage, and the garbage fund has a $42,850 overage. So we end up with about $189,000 net income. Excuse me. Compared to the last budget we presented, which was our early rough draft, I've increased revenue by $3.1 million, which is mostly the CSO project that was inadvertently left off of the original budget. So that's $2.5 million. So I apologize for that.
Good catch.
We also added $1.25 million of expenses. Some of that was also capital projects that were not fully included. One of the main changes is that we want to propose increased water rates. We're looking at a $7.39 per 1,000 gallon for city customers, and a $4.38 per 1,000 gallons to the county. We have talked to the county. Patrick and Hayden talked to Adam last week, and he was okay with that rate. So, I do think we need to increase rates. It's been 6 years. Sorry.
And so that fee, or that cost was based off of a combination of our 2024 and 2025 expenses. So there's a formula that's used to calculate what the rate should be with the city and the county that was created a while back. We looked at both the 2024 and 2025. If we use the 2025, it would be, I think, a 27% raise in the fee. 2024 was about 15, and looking at the cost, it looks like we need about a 19% raise. So we stayed under 20%, which is good. One of the things, and just being straightforward with this proposed budget, that makes calculating what the water results are going to be is the Lonaconee issue. When they're on our water, we get a lot more revenue, but it also costs more to treat. When they're not on our water, that's changed. So this is based off of the Lonaconee being on our water and those expenses, because it's hard to back out the expense part. So if we wanted to take the water out that Lonaconee wasn't using this year, trying to figure out exactly how much it costs to each county to reduce that side of it would be tough. So it does balance at this rate using that, if that makes sense.
This is assuming a full 12 months of them?
Well, no, so last year they were on about 8 months.
Okay.
This budget incorporates that, but trying to say that they weren't gonna be on it for all 12 months this year and trying to figure out what the cost is, it's just the goal is hopefully that the Lonaconing using our water and the cost balances itself.
So this just assumes the same rate it was last year, the
About
same
8 months.
time frame?
Yeah. Although we don't expect them to be on there for 8 months, trying to calculate it any other way would be hard. So once Lonaconing is either off or on our water for a full year, it will help the situation out for future. But for right now, that's also why we kind of use the middle of the two increases. And then additionally, one of the fees will be coming off, the debt service to, one of the debts we had to the dam will be coming off at the end of the year. Not the end of the, the end of the fiscal year. When that happens, we've already had conversations with Adam, it would be time for us to kind of renegotiate with the county how we come up with rates. And that would give us an opportunity to be able to adjust some things, put some money aside for infrastructure, and not have individuals' water bills go up, and in fact, might be able to bring them down a little bit.
Because then they wouldn't have the surcharges.
Yeah, so we would have to recalculate how to do all that. We could really use some money to invest in infrastructure when that
Yeah,
happens
we
and
had talked
shift
about
it.
having,
Yeah,
having-
but maybe we can shift it where we get some and the cost actually goes down a little bit, or at least doesn't go up to the 27% that it probably needs to be at in the future, so.
Okay.
Yeah. But that's next year, but we will be able to renegotiate, so these rates won't probably last the full 3 years like they have in the past.
Talk a little bit, Hayden, about, I know we've talked in the past, the contract that we have with MES as far as the work that they do, but also the chemical costs and stuff. I know we had a pretty favorable contract for a while with them as far as the chemical costs. So talk a bit.
So it's actually up right now. So they're putting together a new proposal for us historically we had always done 5-year contracts with them. But because of the fact that chemical costs change so much, we asked them to shrink it down to 3 years for the next contract. So they'll be coming to us with that shortly, to come to us and say, hey, for the next 3 years, here's what our costs will be. Of course, we try to account for chemicals going up and down, but they know that for this one to actually make it a little bit higher, just to try and prep for them going up inevitably. What we run into typically though is post-COVID, post-world economic changes, the cost for making these chemicals has just gone through the roof. Post certain wars, the cost for these chemicals has gone through the roof, and for MES to be able to absorb them, those costs for chemicals has gone up each year. And that typically, we had a little bit of buffer room in the existing contract, but we have pretty well hit that this year, and we'll be a little bit over it this year.
Is
Just
it
hard
the
to
energy
predict.
cost that goes into making the chemicals?
Correct, and I don't like to speculate on things, but a lot of the chemical comes from, or a lot of the basis for those chemicals comes from Ukraine. So it's just hard to get it whenever there's a war-torn country refining a lot of it. Yeah.
The shipping costs of gas and
Correct.
you name it, everything's kind of going up.
Sure, yeah.
Correct.
They estimated for next year, chemicals cost another $50,000 or $60,000 compared to this year,
Correct.
in addition to their normal costs.
Correct. Yeah, and I don't ever foresee them going down. So, at a minimum, it's going to be expensive every year.
So this new well, which I understand has,
Yeah.
the test has been really good.
Yeah.
It'll be like with the wells and springs, that it will require less treatment.
Correct.
And so
Correct.
that'll be a good addition to the mix then.
Yes, absolutely. I mean, that was why we really pushed for it. One, of course, to offset our total volume of water that we could get to. But again, it should drive down treatment costs because it's so much easier to treat groundwater than it is surface water. So,
Yeah, all right.
yeah, excited. Yeah,
And good for us.
yeah, very good.
Something that's only a little bit related. We know that we were able to get the appropriation from the state, the capital budget request that we had. One of those, part of that was the study for the well, but part of it was also fixing the leak at the filtration plant. Do you have a timeline or what you have planned for what you want to do there?
So we need to strategically wait to hear back from a few other funding agencies. To make a long story short, some of the funding agencies that we're applying to, obviously we haven't gotten yet, and you can't pre-spend that money until you get it. So what we might do once we get the state of Maryland money, we might cut loose on the VFDs and probably the engineering for the well, and we'll strategically save the tank and well number 2 at Savage Springs until we hopefully get some rural Maryland Council or some ARC funds down the road. There's a couple hoops to jump through, and we just kind of want to wait until we know it's going to fall into our lap. The least important project out of the 4 would be the well at Piney, or not at Piney, but the well at Savage Springs, so that one will come last. And then the one that is most wonky in terms of dates with funding will be the holding tank, but that one also we can kind of strategically wait on. So I would say timeline for that, we would start in September or October, based on grant funding.
And part of that is based off of what the grants were eligible to funding towards.
Correct.
So we wrote certain things for the extra 2,000, but the 200,000 for that incorporated those projects.
Correct.
Is that gonna involve draining the tank or somebody getting scuba certified?
No, we should be okay. We think we're gonna be able to kind of come under it and basically just shut that tank down with the volume on, just valve it off, do the work, and then repack it back in and be fine. So that's not a complicated repair. It's just a little bit of earth moving. It's a big job, but it's not very complicated.
We were gonna do a parallel redundant water line from the hydro facility to the filtration plant.
Potentially, that one was always laughingly called Chris's pipe dream.
I saw a bunch of digging going on there like a few months ago. I thought, oh, is that it? And
that was state highway fixing a culvert pipe. But we would like to do that project eventually, but it's not a critical one. I would almost argue that the redundancy line to Coney or to Cabin Run Road would be more important at this point. Especially if things with Coney's water system, for some reason, like I said, we don't want to speculate, but if they come on to us permanently, then I would say that line would be more important.
Well, I was just wondering, and I kept forgetting to ask.
No, Yep.
Alright. Anything else?
I had a couple more things.
Yeah, please.
As far as salaries go, our, the presented budget has a 5% raise for full-time employees starting July 1st. Compared to the previous version of the budget, it's about a $12,000 increase. And compared to last year, I don't remember. I'll come back to that, it'll come to me. Other changes we made across the board, we've increased gas, oil, and grease fuel costs by 20% in lieu of, or in light of current pricing. I know gas at Sheets went up 10 cents from yesterday. So, other changes, the fleet lease for the street department, we decreased by $11,000. We had not accounted for the equity in the current vehicles. So when we get the new vehicles on that lease, it'll actually be $11,000 less than what I'd projected before. And unfortunately, we also eliminated the requests for a digital signboard for $15,000 and a new snowplow. Sorry, Hayden. For
I'm used to it.
$250.
We'll make do.
We, obviously if we can work them back in, we will, but it's not looking real good right now. In the water department, as Hayden mentioned, we increased the MES contract by $60,000. We also increased meters by about $20,000 to replace outdated and non-operational meters. We do have quite a few actually, customers who we do estimated readings and have been for several months, so we'd like to get those replaced. Hopefully, maybe increase some of our revenues. And then finally in the water department, again, sorry Hayden, we were gonna do West Mechanic Street water line for $150,000 and then took that out. As I mentioned before, for the sewer, I increased project reimbursement for the grant and loan forgiveness proceeds for the new CSO projects. And I also had to increase property insurance by $5,000 for a formula issue. Other than that, just please keep in mind that the budget, we prepared it with the best available information. Nope, I did forget something. Sorry, Chief. The police fleet lease. We had proposed the 4 leases that were coming to an end, replacing those vehicles as well as getting 3 new vehicles. We this iteration of the budget, we are going to extend the lease for the 4 vehicles we have and just add one more. So that saved us
A lot of money.
$55,000 in
And,
things.
and speaking with Enterprise as well, today actually on the phone right now, all of those Durangos that we would extend this year, Enterprise is pretty confident that we would have those leases paid off within this 1-year extension.
Wow.
So within 12 months, we would no longer be paying the monthly lease payment. It would just go to the monthly maintenance.
Wow,
charge.
outstanding.
So it's worth it to extend them at least 1 more year.
Yes,
And then
sir.
we can kind of stagger them from there. From 1 year from now, we can start to stagger them.
Sounds great.
Yeah.
Thank you
Part
all
of-
very
Part
much.
of the issue with that is the Durangos don't have a great resale value, whereas the ones which switching over with Public Works, I think they're probably gonna make 30 or more off of them.
Yeah, the resale value, so for instance, just to put it in perspective, the 4 trucks that we would trade in the street department, we'll get about $80,000 back out of those 4 trucks. The 4 Durangos, we would get about $20,000. Just because they're police upfitted and different things like that.
One of the other things that we looked at too is with the police vehicles, because of that upfit, depending on the vehicle costs anywhere from $15,000 to like $30,000. So, the original concept of doing 5-year leases on everything and rotating them out, with that additional cost to it, makes them a bit more expensive. If we do either extend out the lease for them for like a 7 or 8 year lease, or do this 5-year and then get them down and hold them for 8 or 6 or 7, depending on their condition, we should be able to get them into a good rotation where it's not a large hit to us every time. And then whether we get good money for them when we sell them or not, it won't be as big of an issue. If we can sell them as police vehicles with the components in it, that would be great. Hayden did talk to them about the possibility of transferring some of the equipment from vehicle to vehicle when we get new ones, but that's not looking.
Some of the equipment will work, some of it won't. So we're just running, Enterprise and I are running the numbers right now to see if the juice is worth the squeeze, so to speak, on those. But we'll see.
What else?
The only other thing I had was, please keep in mind that we had the best available information to do the budget, so don't hold us to it. Not too much anyway.
Well, Elaine always used to remind us that she was calculating things very conservatively because you never know what's going to happen.
Is the audit done?
It will be tomorrow.
Ooh, all right.
If I have to stay up all night tonight, it will be done tomorrow.
All right. Anything else on the budget?
There are a couple of supplemental items that you all have, including the new fee schedule for everything. It includes the new water rate, the amended cost of the children's summer camp that we had done before, as well as the rates that John had proposed at the last meeting before. So that is just for you to look over to see if there's anything that you want to change with that. The other item you have with budgets is uniforms. So we are going to need to either renew or change our contract for uniforms. Currently we have Cintas. We were looking into UniFirst as well as a new company used for uniforms. I will say that after months of looking into this, we found out 3 weeks ago that Cintas is buying UniFirst. So that was fun. But with that said, it is expected.
Big uniform.
It's expected that they are going to buy them. It's not finalized. It's probably going to take 2 to 3 years for something like that to go through. And the contract with UniFirst would be for about 3 years. So one of the things in looking at it, the page has one on one side, one on the other. If you look at the cost of UniFirst, it's about $6 more a week, $4 more a week than the cost of Cintas. That's specifically for uniforms and mats that are charged weekly. Cintas charges us weekly for our disposable items. So in this building, it's paper towels, hand soap, and the sanitizer that's out in the lobby. They charge us weekly for those things. UniFirst charges us as we use them. So for liquid soap in the bathrooms, Cintas charges us, I think it's like $3 or $4 a week. UniFirst would give us a container when it's empty. And they actually give us a little bit of stock too. So overall, I do believe UniFirst will wind up being cheaper when it comes to that. They also have a pretty good online platform, and we've run into some issues with Cintas when it comes to customer service and things like that. Just about every time we get a bill, Krista has to spend like a solid hour or so making sure that they're not charging us for something that we no longer get from them, and has to send things back and forth. So they just use an older system that isn't very clear, where UniFirst seems to be a little bit up on the technology. So
They should be buying Cintas.
Yeah, sounds that way.
well, and I think that's part of the reason Cintas may be acquiring them.
Because they want you,
But so, if there's no objections, the goal would be to go with Cintas for the upcoming 3-year contract. One of the other things is if Cintas does buy them out in that 3-year contract, they would.
To go with UniFirst.
I'm sorry.
UniFirst, yeah, okay.
If Cintas does buy them out in the 3-year period, they would, keep to the contract or make some of the changes that. UniFirst also has a pretty good policy as far as like responding within a certain amount of days, making adjustments and things like that that we haven't really seen from Cintas. Both of them are part of either Sourcewell or OmniFirst, so really the cost itself has been approved on the state level, so we can really choose either one as far as that goes. The one thing I would say is Cintas is a local company, and UniFirst is based out of, I think, Virginia. So there is that difference, but customer service wise, it was similar. And like I said, I think overall cost would probably be better with UniFirst.
Okay,
Yeah.
all right. Anything else related to budget, fees, anything to do with money? Okay, moving on then. We're at item 4 in the agenda, 4A, update on the 2-hour parking situation.
So, Chief was responding to a parking issue, and we found out that there are parking meters that have some conflicting timeframes. So we would like to get some stickers to make it so that all parking at all of where the metered spots are, the charter parking, is on the same schedule. I think the one you found had it said it went to Saturdays as well.
Yes, sir. Yes, one business complained about parking, and when our officer went out to look, it was a bit debatable about which meter this car was actually parked at, but one said Monday through Saturday, and it was a Saturday. The other said Monday through Friday, so there's definitely conflicting meters. And when we changed to 2-hour parking, we've kind of figured our safest enforcement approach would be to stick within the timeframes designated on the meters, unless we do other stickers or signage, and we've seen a conflict there.
So we are going to get stickers to clarify that. Right now, it's Monday through Friday during business hours, which I think is at 8 to 4 or 8 to 5.
There may be a little variance there. I think they say 9 to 6. Some may say 9 to 5, but some say 9 to 6 for sure.
So what we'd like to do is just make them clear across the board so everybody knows what the parking meters are. The goal is going to be to do Monday through Friday, 9 to 5. The question that keeps coming up for certain businesses is what to do about Saturdays, or weekends in general. Depending on what type of business you own or what your business is in, or what you're doing in Frostburg, there's a lot of conflict of what it should be. Saturdays have tended to be kind of open, or weekends have always been kind of no limits on parking as far as that goes. For people that want to park outside of the business or something like that, that'll be there all day, could cause some issues. But I don't think it's as big of an issue as it is during the week for things. My suggestion would be not to mess with the weekend, but I wasn't sure if you all had any suggestions. The goal being, once we get these stickers, I'd like not to have to keep ordering stickers at church time. So the question is, do we want to add Saturdays, or do we want to add Saturdays during a shorter period of time than we do during the week? I think the main concern that we have is that Monday through Fridays, 9 to 5 is 2-hour parking enforcement. And the question is, do you want it added to Saturdays?
I think so, because, people who are working elsewhere, 9 to 5, Monday through Friday, are coming into town on Saturday to do their local shopping or restauranting. So it seems like the 2-hour limit should work for Saturday too.
So the reason I think in the past it hasn't is that Saturdays don't tend to be as busy around like the midday thing. Because some businesses are closed on the weekend, so there's a little bit more right there. And a lot of the restaurants, I think, encourage people to stay longer than 2 hours, so that is the counter
Okay.
to that, but we can do Saturdays as well.
I would agree that it's probably not as busy on Saturdays because of some of the businesses on Main Street that are more office-type businesses aren't open on Saturday.
Right.
So I think the 9 to 5 thing is to discourage employees of those businesses from just parking there all day, but that's not a problem on Saturday.
Which we did run into, yeah.
Well, and I know that until we did this change, the Business Association actually took the funds that we gave them and we gave them free parking on Saturday.
And that was a while ago.
Yeah,
Yeah,
well,
right, yeah.
yeah, till
So
we
it's-
moved to these meters, to doing it the way we're doing it now.
So they went out of their way to get it so
To
Saturdays
have
don't-
free parking on Saturdays.
So you haven't seen like a problem with people just kind of parking there all day long on Saturdays?
I really haven't. I think a lot of the conflicts are very specific, like maybe neighboring businesses disputing with each other. Maybe one wants their neighbor to not park there all day and the other wants to be able to park there. Sometimes people come and go and one business feels like, well, they've been there all day, but sometimes we'll check the camera and they've actually left and come back. So it's legal, to do that. So I don't really see any egregious issues. We try to be very open to people calling us. It might not be the most common thing for people to call a police department for an expired meter, essentially an extended parking complaint in larger cities, but we are glad to do it. So we've tried to do our own enforcement. We've tried to open the door to citizen complaints, community complaints. So I haven't seen any really egregious problems, and certainly none that we can't address with the camera system and complaints.
Well, then if it's not a problem, just Saturdays.
I'd like to add something to the discussion.
Please.
We reached out to State Highway about painting.
I was just going to bring that
Lines.
up. I've seen, there's tack marks out there now.
Okay, so you've seen those.
That
They
was-
do not all line up with the meters. So I think we have to make a decision on if we're lining up with the meter posts as is, or if we're going to paint the
How do
stall
they not
lines.
line up?
So due to certain regulations, like having to be so far back from the crosswalk and things like that,
Fire hydrants.
yeah.
So does it
Don't line up.
reduce the number of parking spots?
Yes,
think we've moved
Jacob
six.
told me that he thinks it's about 6 spots that we would be losing doing it that way.
And on top of the loss, they wouldn't line up with the meters, which I think would just confuse people.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Now, of course, we still have the option to just take the meter heads off, like we have always talked about. But we should, to Emily's point, do we still want to pursue the lines or not? Might be more headache than it's worth.
I will say this, if we just take the heads off the meters, I think the poles will still be an indicator of where you should park too. So if they're going away, it should probably be a pole, which also means fixing the sidewalk.
And that's something that we can't really use any of our pull to say, no, you need to do it this way, because when they do something on their state highway, it is to their standard, and there are no changes. It is that.
So they're gonna paint them the way they're gonna paint them, and we just have to deal with it.
Yep.
Hey, while they're doing that, can they also redo the other lines? Because I was coming
They
up in the
are,
fog and I
Yeah.
couldn't see them.
Emily actually has been talking about that.
So, yeah, that's what I was just going to say too. I was like Dukes of Hazzard coming out of Water Street the other day, coming down from Tasty Freeze.
That's us.
Okay.
We're doing that when we were slated to the plants. Yeah. So the plants, asphalt plants are open now.
Okay.
We're just waiting on our state highway permit to come back so that we can do that work.
Okay. Yeah, the patch job on College Avenue looked good the other day. I did see that.
Well, that's just the base course too.
I know.
That's not even done yet.
Yeah.
So it's only gonna get better.
And they're going to be doing that Friday.
No.
No.
Current plan is next Tuesday at this point.
That may change.
So our options are forget about the lines at all, or they are where they are. Cool.
And we might have to take the meter.
Well,
Yeah, so if you walk Main Street, there's a white marking on the
Yeah.
curb and where the white line should
Could we
be
put a
to
sign
indicate.
on each side of it saying, don't pull any further, don't pull up any further?
We can, but there's a lot of signs. Yeah, so just,
If I can jump in again.
Please.
The other side of it is, if the meter pole's there, and they put the white lines in, and they don't correspond, you're opening your door into the meter pole.
yeah.
Or you're opening your door into a light fixture.
That's true.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And
It was a
the,
good idea.
the undesirable thing is just to take the meters and the poles out. That affects Christmas time,
Oh, yeah.
but that would be the other
I'm
option.
gonna give Peggy Atkinson your phone number.
She's already got mine.
Yeah, and
I mean,
the American flags too.
Yeah,
Yeah,
the
right.
flags.
Yeah, we can't do that.
But you can still take you can take the heads off if we want to do away with like the stickering process. And so people stop trying to put quarters through the stickers. We can always take the heads off.
We could potentially find a way to put signs on,
Yeah.
but even then, I think people will use them to line up their
Well,
parking.
yeah. And again, as Bobby said, you're gonna have somebody opening the door into a meter pole.
Right, a lamp post or something, yeah.
Oh, could we remove just the ones that don't coincide, you know, that are in the way, maybe? That could be a
That's an option.
You just cut them off. Yeah, just think about it. We'll follow up more. I don't think they had planned to paint them for. Do you
No,
know?
well, it'll definitely be after the street sweeping, but
Okay.
I don't think it.
Which is at the
I think
end
we
of the
have a little bit of time, but I can get in touch with
Yeah.
Jacob.
Man, that's a shame. That was a really good idea too.
May I ask them? I'm just thinking about the Saturday. It seems like you're moving away from the Saturday, but I'm thinking of all of our community events, anything that's at City Place. You know, if we enforce the parking on Saturday, we're gonna be ticketing people that are at a baby shower at City Place too. To just-
Well, so that's if they park in a meter. So one of the parts of this conversation too is that we do have 2 parking lots that are not 2-hour parking. One near City Place up Mechanic and one behind St. Mike's near Main Street, that for the most part are underutilized, especially on the weekends. So one of the businesses that's actually was pushing for the Saturday enforcement is on the Water Street, Broadway area off of Main Street. But the City Place activities normally wind up taking up those spots and people do park there all day long. So on Main Street, it's not as big of an issue, but there are parking lots that maybe we need to promote more, or we could try to promote in conjunction with this, but most people just want to park right where they are and not down the street, whether they're gonna stay for 2 hours or not, so.
That's why we need to get those solar canopies, because people will want to be parking under them to protect them from the snow and the rain and the beating sun.
Conduit's there for them, so.
If I could suggest one more thing, when we do finalize the days and times of parking, I would really recommend that we get nice stickers made for the signs. Because if we do exclude the weekend, Saturday and Sunday, and somebody parks there on a Sunday, kind of gives sort of a little stigma, like people look at them like you're not supposed to park there, but in reality, you are allowed to on Sunday, for example, right now, and maybe Saturday till it's finalized. But I think it would be cleaner and clearer if it was also on the signs. In fact, when the final decision is made, we could just cover it up probably on the meters and use the signs really for the posting. Just a recommendation.
Okay. So are we doing Monday to Friday? Is that what we decided?
I would think Monday through Friday.
All right, it's
All right.
decided.
Monday through Friday, 9 to 5.
Yeah.
Okay.
Saturday and Sunday, free all day.
As well as the evenings. Okay. We'll look into getting some, I want to see if we can get some specialty stickers that'll actually wrap around the glass part of the
Oh, yeah,
meters.
that'd
So
be
we
great.
just kind of cover it up so that you can't look in and see whatever times might be listed there. So,
That'd be great.
so we'll work on that. We'll
Don't forget the magic
probably,
ball.
once we get the stickers in, we'll make an announcement that that's going into full effect. And we'll change it that way. We'll make sure to promote the parking lots during that time as well.
Okay. All right, next is take-home vehicle update.
So we discussed this, there was a concern about seeing a police vehicle in Pennsylvania. One of the big issues is being that Pennsylvania's very close to us. We wanted to make sure that we officially put a radius on the take-home vehicle policy, because we don't have one right now. We are currently recruiting officers, and we don't want to get to a point where somebody's taking a vehicle from Hagerstown up to Frostburg. So at the last meeting, we talked about whether 20 or 25 miles would be appropriate. and whether going between states would be appropriate. So what we like to suggest to officially put into the policy is doing 25 miles and allowing it to go to the adjoining states as long as it's within that radius. And officers know that, you know, if they have a vehicle other than stopping at a grocery store on the way home, once the vehicle's home, you use your personal car, because it has to be drove around unless you're actually in the city of Frostburg. Any concerns or?
No, I think that's good.
And this is one of the things that was added to really kind of help encourage officers to come work for the city of Frostburg as a benefit for them. So.
Okay. Staffing updates, item C.
We sent an offer to our hopefully newest trash truck guy. He is speaking with his wife hopefully now, and then intends to give us an answer in the morning. Emily and Adam handled all those interviews. Do you want to talk about the potential new hire at all?
I'm not sure what details you want me to share, so he is, I guess. He was by far the best candidate of the bunch yesterday.
He already has a CDL, so
Uh-huh.
that was good, so.
And he reminded me a lot of Ryan Whitaker, so.
And he already worked in a city, he worked in the gas department of the city,
Okay.
yeah. Was it Charlottesville? Yeah.
Oh, wow.
Yeah, so, yeah.
And he's a local guy.
Yeah, you
we won't give out too many details.
Yeah.
But he's a
And
local
his-
guy as of now.
5'10", and
Yeah.
All right, excellent. And then
Is that
Chief,
the one?
did you want to talk about?
Sure.
officers?
Yeah, no, I'd be glad to. Some good news, some bad news. So I'll start with the bad news first. Okay, we have 2 officers leaving us. Sadly, one's going to the sheriff's office. One's in the process for Garrett County Sheriff's Office. Good news. Those are the 2 bad things. But the good news is none of them have indicated any dissatisfaction with Frostburg. They essentially want larger areas. One lives in Garrett County, and they want to work there. We have our police cadet, Peyton, just did his pre-employment PT test Saturday. He's going through the process now for the Hagerstown Academy, so he's excited. He's working through that. I think that's great.
When does that start?
That starts, I need to confirm the date, but I have in mind it's about mid-June from the last update I got. That's the kind of the time frame we're working on, so
You think
that's
he'll do
good.
well, Chief?
Sorry, say
You
again?
think he'll do well?
Yes, I really do. Yeah, he was in Mr. Groves, Sean Groves' Career Center class. That's how he came to work with us. He was a high school intern, and then when he graduated high school, he's worked with us part-time as a cadet. He's done a great job, very dedicated, diligent. I think he'll do great. And I always want to emphasize the appreciation the police department has for all the city has done to get us competitive and get us in the realm. I think we've had a 25-year-old issue of people sometimes leaving for other departments. Every police department has that today. Recruiting and retention is like the hot topic at every police department. But I have had officers in our department, and one young officer in particular specifically told me, hey, if we didn't have LEOPS and didn't have the cars, I'd probably leave too. You know, so it is working. The retention aspect is working. I think we'll always have some of the turnover, but the more we can do to reduce it and stay competitive, the better off we are. So I just thought that was a good tidbit. It's a younger guy, happy to be working with us, enjoys it, but he said, look, realistically, if we weren't in the police pension system, I'd probably move on in the future as happy as I am. So I thought that was good for us to know that our efforts are worthwhile.
Good. Okay. Anything else staffing? Any other departments have staffing?
how's the water department's assistant supervisor working out?
Awesome.
All right.
We love him. Yeah. Everybody loves him, actually.
Cool.
Good.
Wonderful.
As long as the county doesn't love them.
I already talked to them, and well, we took it from the county.
Yeah.
Oh, good. Good, good, good.
So he wanted out there. So yeah, we poached our own finally. So.
Put one on our side. All right, next item D is water resiliency project. More good news.
Yeah.
You want to talk about your water rate?
Sure. So we had kind of set the cutoff for this well, for the test well. We were hoping for 75 gallons a minute on the commercial side of things. Once the commercial well was in, 75 gallons a minute would be what we would pursue. If it was that or above, we would pursue doing the project and doing the pump station. If it was under that, then it probably wasn't worth it. We would go to site 2 and drill another test well. This first one, at first site, first place we put the bore in the ground, at around 300 feet, it was like 296 feet, 297 feet. We got about 50 gallons a minute on just a small bore test well. And once we go to a full-size commercial well, we'll be well over 75 gallons a minute. And the plan would also be then to put 2 or 3 wells right in that same spot and get in excess of 100 gallons a minute, if not closer to 150. So over the next month, we'll be doing tests on the water reservoir under the ground to make sure it can keep up with capacity and make sure the water is good. We anticipate it being good, but it was really, really good that day. And it was the best news we've gotten for water rise in a long time.
How will that test work out? I mean, you pump the water out of there?
We basically just, we pump it for about a day straight and just make sure it can keep up with capacity, make sure that it can stay at that same flow rate for a day. And then we'll kind of do some tests on the actual water itself to make sure that as you pump it for that long, that as you get to hour 20, does the water get cloudy? Does it have a smell to it? Things like that. But we were pretty excited that day.
Yeah.
It also means that we shouldn't have to go to sites 2 and 3.
Yeah, that'll keep the
Which means
cost
the
down.
cost of the project just got smaller. Not a third smaller, or that would.
As long as we've been waiting for this, I'm glad that we got
Yeah.
good news
Yeah.
on the first try.
We waited, 6 months and we did the work in 2 days. So,
Yeah, I think we were talking about it in
Yeah.
October. We're
Yeah.
gonna have it ready for,
Yeah.
Christmas or something.
yeah,
But it's great, it's good.
very
That's
exciting
good.
day.
The spot they picked is down a little bit of a steep hill, so getting
Yeah, and all
truck
the
drivers-
equipment made it in and out.
Yeah, shockingly, we
It
thought.
wasn't too dry, it wasn't too
Yeah,
muddy, it wasn't too windy.
it's perfect. Yeah, we took
Everything we
the
heard.
well rig. The well rig probably weighs 40,000 pounds, and the support rig that comes with it is a triple axle semi truck, basically with a rotator on the back, and it probably weighs 65,000 pounds. And the access road for it is a dirt road, and it's maybe a 30% incline. The well drillers came right in there, went straight down in, did the drilling, and then the next day came right back up out. So we were very happy.
It's hard to slip into that.
It could not have gone better. To be
And the reservoir it's completely separate from
Correct.
the other
Yep, that was why
that
we
we
picked
draw
the-
from. Okay,
That was why we picked the location we did.
great.
Speaking of that, what's the level of the reservoir right now?
We're good now. We're actually at capacity.
Okay.
So, yep, we're still overflowing on the weir.
We are technically in a little bit of a drought though, correct?
Correct. Technically, the area is in a drought, but the reservoir itself is at capacity, and the wells and springs are still flowing at their normal flow rate.
Okay.
I forgot to say one thing. I
Yes, sir.
apologize on our staffing. I just want to emphasize the positivity. We have the retention issues where people are staying because of what we've done. We had an officer leave a couple years ago who came back to us about a year ago, partly because of what we've done. So I wanted to just mention that too and
Okay.
reaffirm that he's done such a great job. I'm so glad he's back, and that was a lot of what the mayor and council and we as a city have done to increase our competitiveness. So I just wanted to say that. I had a few negative points, so I wanted to emphasize the good things. We not only are keeping some people, but we had one come back. So thank you.
Appreciate it.
The others will be back.
That's what I'm saying, yes. They'll be back. The grass isn't always greener.
All right, item E, it's Arbor Day on Friday.
Yes, so we are celebrating Arbor Day this Friday there's a tree planting. So Parks and Rec will be doing that. It is in the middle of the day. I will get an invite out to anybody that wants to go. I know a lot of people are busy.
Where is it going to be?
I believe they're doing it in Glendenning, so I'll get you all the information. But we'll be doing a proclamation at Arbor Day, and then we'll read it at the mayor and council meeting that's coming up, just to put it in the record.
It's gonna have to be you. I don't think I can get out on Friday.
Yeah, I should be free. Yeah,
Okay.
Friday's good.
Very good.
Yeah, some of us have to work.
Who would that be?
That's overrated.
Yeah.
Nick.
All right, the Scoop, another popular event.
Yes.
So we were planning the scoop. We were looking at the 20th, and then we found out it was Mountain Ridge's graduation.
Graduation, Mountain Ridge that night, so that'll be everybody in town will be there.
Then we were looking at the 21st, and that was an issue. So looking at June 5th, 4th. June 4th, when everybody check their calendar, see if it'd be all right for everybody.
What day of the week is that?
It's in the evening, right?
Yeah, it's gonna be in the evening. It's a Thursday, so we would open door. Last time we opened doors at 6:30. It started at 7, but we had good turnout and good conversation, so it kind of went into the evening a little more than we were expecting. So we're looking at opening doors at 6 and starting at 6:30. But so the goal is it would be at City Place, and if everybody's available, it would be for June 4th. That will be the day before we do our city picnic as well. It's scheduled for June 5th. Just if everybody can put that on their calendars as well, right around 1 o'clock.
Okay.
So if that's the case, we'll finalize that, get it to everybody once we are sure everything's in.
All right, last item then is item G. We are scheduling a second special work session for May.
Yes, with Rich.
Yes.
So Rich will actually be in town that day, which is why we're doing the special session. He has to come and speak with some other people as well. So if it's all right with everybody, we'll do a special session update for him to give us a post-legislative session update in person. I think we set for 4 o'clock, right? We talked about it before.
Normal time.
Yeah.
All right, anything else? Commissioner Carr, thank you for that. No, it's all good. Anything more? Questions or anything before we adjourn? Okay. All right, meeting is adjourned at 5:24.